Hello, my name is Fenna. Welcome to the Self-Compassion channel. I am a certified coach and I work with people in a Limerence episode one-on-one online. Now, I'm kind of juggling here because I have my notes with me. I also have my cat on my lap who just jumped on it and who seems to ignore that I have all this equipment on my lap. Say hi, baby. Hi. I'm really excited about the video today. What I want to do today is share everything I learned, well, not everything, but share my biggest lessons, the 25 biggest lessons that I've learned about limerence, being a multiple limerence, serial limerence myself, studying limerence and working with people in a limerence episode. Now, of course, I made 25, I could have made thousands, but for now, I have collected 25, otherwise the video would be really long and really boring. But I will do more videos like this. So for now, with the cat on my lap, I'm going to give you my 25 biggest insights and lessons I've learned from limerence. To jump right in. These are the 25 lessons that I collected from being a limerent, working with limerence, and studying limerence. Number one, the strongness of your feelings, the force of your feelings, is not proof that you can be and you should be with the other person or that you will be a great fit for each other. Number two, this person can be your twin flame, and my definition of twin flame is someone who spirals your life at a certain point into another direction, or who has a lot of influence, who've had a lot of influence on your life in a certain period. That does not make them your soulmate. These are two completely different things. Somebody can be a big influence in your life without being your soulmate and without fitting you as a person. Number three, the anxiety the anxiety caused by the inconsistency in the contact is caused by the limbic system in our brain. And this part of our brain reacts to safe interaction. Meaning, if the interaction and the frequency and the quality is resonating with you. And you cannot reason yourself out of a hyper-aroused, hyperactivated limbic response. That's why it's so difficult to be friends with the other, because the limerent will probably have a freaked out nerve system and always will want more. Number four, there is nothing wrong with wanting a defined relationship and expressing what you want. Number five, after 3 or 4 months of dating, it is perfectly normal to ask where you are within your relationship, what you are, if there's a future, and how the other sees you. Of course, you don't want to do this on your first date, but I also know limerents who've been doing this who've been accepting a situationship for 5 years because they are afraid to ask. It is perfectly normal after a few months to ask, hey, do we have a future? And no, you will not scare the people away who want what you want. Of course not. They will be happy. They were waiting for this question. They're like, hey, I'm so glad you mentioned it because I want to be with you. And actually, we should be turned on instead of off by persons who want what we want. Number 6, limerence feeds off uncertainty, obstacles, and inconsistency. Because intermittent rewards causes addiction and therefore repetition of behavior. That's why we seek the other. Number 7, we make the other responsible for our well-being. We make the other responsible for soothing our freaked out nervous system. We use the other to calm our system down. Number 8, the antidote for limerence is clarity. So at one point, you might want to ask clarity if you don't have it. Get out of the unknown and vague situations if you cannot deal with that. And if your body gives you stress symptoms, that's probably a good sign that you are in a situation where you don't want to be in. Number 9. Do not underestimate dopamine. The hope that keeps limerence going. But a potential relationship is not an actual relationship. It's also not proof that you will be together. The word dopamine, it's so excellent. I got it from a podcast I listened last week. It's called When Dating Hurts. I will put the description below. It's a little bit more about abusive relationships, but I think the mechanism of hoping that someone will change or that something will change in the future is exactly the hormones and the hope that drives us limerence. Number 10, I love this one. Ignoring red flags is a red flag. You think about that. Number 11, grief, boredom, and being unsatisfied or having unhealed issues make us vulnerable for limerence. If you work on these things, you will protect yourself better against a limerent episode. Number 12. Limerence itself is an altered state, and I keep on saying this. It's not a diagnosis. We show symptoms of different diagnoses. I mean, we have a very obsessive, compulsive way of thinking. We might manipulate because we don't feel safe in the relationship. We want that sense of control. Which indicates that there is a borderline personality disorder going on here, or we have the extreme mood swings, which can indicate bipolar disorder. But the limerence itself, of course it can be both, but the limerence itself is a state that will pass. Number 13, nothing in life is stronger than attachment. Therefore, detaching is not something that is easily done, that you can do with just making up your mind and saying, oh yeah, I'm just not going to care about this person anymore. I'm going to walk away and that's it. I'm not allowed to feel anything. It doesn't work like that. It's a process. It goes in steps. That's why so many limerent, when they decide to go no contact, relapse a few times, and that is perfectly normal. Number 15, love is not enough to make a relation work or to be happy. Even when it's from both sides, you also need a limbic resonance, and what I mean by that is that you are aligned and you feel okay with the frequency and also the temperament of the other person. Just loving someone is not enough to make a relationship work. Number 15. Leaving an unhealthy interaction is a skill. It's a difficult skill, but it's a skill, and we should learn to leave when it's time to leave. Not all interactions with all people we have in our lives are meant to last forever. Thank God, I want to add like that. People can be there for a period and thank them for having been there, but when it's an unhealthy interaction for you, you can decide to leave. Number 16. Suffering for romance is not romantic. It's silly, it's unnecessary, and we should not invite it, endure it, and accept it. Number 17. Everything you feel is normal. There are no wrong or right or normal or abnormal. Well, there are normal but no abnormal feelings. Feelings can be unwanted, uninvited, but they cannot be wrong. That's why such an important component of practicing self-compassion is that you state what you feel. I feel angry, I feel hurt, I feel jealous, I feel sad. And you cannot really judge that because they're there. Judging your feelings is as silly as judging your hunger. Like, oh yeah, I don't agree with the fact that I'm hungry now. It's there. And you cannot want it, of course, and not invite it, but it's there. It's just wanted or not wanted. Number 18. When we have attachment wounds, we tend to be attracted by mismatches. And when there are too many mismatches with another person, when you date, you actually should not date this person or not get too invested too soon also. And with mismatches, I mean the obstacles or the difficulties that make it hard to be with this other person. Like the other person is taken, or they live really far away, or they're much older or younger than you, or have a completely different religion. Of course, one mismatch, okay, and some people can, some relationships can survive that. But I've also seen limerence with 5 or 6 or 7 or 8 mismatches, and they make it really complicated, as in completely impossible to be with the other person, which is a gateway to suffering. Number 19. When you date, please have a plan. Have a look at what you want. It only takes a few minutes. What kind of partner do you want? What kind of partner do you want to be? And what kind of relationship do you want? How often do you want to see the other person? Are you somebody who wants a lot of space? Or are you somebody who wants to see your partner, for example, every day? What do you want? And share this plan in the early stage of the beginning of the dating to see if the other person even wants what you want. Number 20. Limerence are unavailable. Yeah. Even when limerence show up as hyper super available, we also show up as anxious, objectifying the other, completely focused on our own needs and scared. That's not available. That's the opposite of available. Number 21, being vulnerable and opening up about what is going on might help us get out of a limerent episode. If you want to cut the ties with a person and you're dealing with somebody who you think will respect what you're saying, you can explain how unhealthy this is for you. This is a really unhealthy situation that we have here. I'm going to cut this, and please help me in this. Number 22. We are addicted to the hormones that come from the other person. They're not produced by the other person. It's not actually the other person itself. And I know you don't believe me, and I don't mean to say that it doesn't matter who you like, because obviously this person has some traits that you find attractive. But they don't put in the hormones in your body. This is your body, your hormones, you produce it. Number 23. No matter how freaked out our nervous system is, we can see what's going on from our adult self. We always have our grown-up adults inside of me that we can use and tap into. And when you find this hard, what would you say to a friend? When you advise a friend who's telling you about their situation, the advice is most likely coming from a inner caring grown-up. So use the sentence, what would I say to a friend? What would I advise a friend now? Number 24, why no contact is healthy for healing limerence. It's because you break the cycle. You break the reward chain in the hormones. The reward is not coming anymore. So your hormones are being forced to produce certain hormones on its own without the source. And hormones always want to come in balance. It's called homeostasis. And it's also the reason why limerence feels so good in the beginning, because we press like crazy on the dopamine scale. It's a scale. And after a while, the hormones want to come in balance. So we press like crazy on the feeling good. So then the feeling bad parts of the scale wants to come up. And that's why we feel so incredibly bad after a while. And number 25, and this one is so important. Use the limerence as fertile soil. I always tell my clients, also with a burnout, the crisis, you can also use this in a depression. Any crisis is also a mirror. Now is a time to look in the mirror and have a look at your life. Are there areas in your life where you're not satisfied about? Is there enough alignment in your values? What I mean by that is, do you see your values reflected enough in your life? Is your life purposeful? Because having a purposeful life aligned with your values is a really good antidote against limerence. So maybe now is the time to have a look and start a project, or do volunteer work, or work in a way that will make you feel more aligned with your values. These were the 25 biggest lessons for now. Like I said in the beginning, I want to do a whole lot more. What I learned from limerence. If you want to add your lesson, what was the biggest lesson you learned during your limerence episode? Please leave a comment. It's very useful information, and we are collecting information about limerence. For now, I want to thank you for watching this video, and I hope to see you in another video. Bye!